Hey guys, it's Jsnow, and I guess a discussion video for you guys about the old WoW TCG, which I actually still have the box and almost fully intact. I mean, I'm kind of surprised at the quality of this, but this is like 10 plus years old. I got this a long time ago. So what I'm going to be discussing in this video is how could the new World of Warcraft movie coming out actually somehow revive the TCG even though Hearthstone is in place. So I'm going to actually go off a little list, so you're going to see me turn my head. So yeah, I am reading a script, kind of. I mean, not really, but kind of reading a script because I made a post on the WoW Reddit. And I will just say that the WoW Reddit suffers from fanboyism. And I really hate fanboyism. So obviously if you post something that goes against Blizzard even in the slightest way, you'll be put on the fucking spot for that. And that's why I hate fanboys so much. But anyway, that's enough of that. So there were a lot of really dumbass comments on the thread. I'm not going to link the thread, but I will read the thread and try to like I'll try to bring the thread to life without actually posting it. I mean, you can technically find it. It probably wouldn't be too hard to find. But, you know, for people who like to dig and search, there's a new job for you. So anyway, so let me close this out. I'm actually going to move my webcam screen to here. Alright, so here was the thing. So, what do you call it? I was wondering if Blizzard would return to TCG, which is this, to the forefront if the World of Warcraft movie is a mainstream success. Now, I will start by saying that this has a 1% chance of happening. I know it's probably never ever going to happen because of Hearthstone, but there's always a chance. There's that tiny little slither of the chance it could always come back. And this completely depends on if the WoW Legion movie has mainstream success. That means that the movie can't just be, oh, it's a good movie, but it's mostly for WoW fans. It needs to be that, oh, it's a good movie, and if I know nothing about WoW, I can still enjoy this movie. Like, for example, I guess a good example would be, I don't like comic books, but I saw the newest Captain America movie or whatever, and I really enjoyed that movie. So it needs to work in that way. So hopefully it does. That would be actually pretty cool to have Warcraft, something that back in the day when it first came out was one of the most nerdiest things you can do. I was like, what, in 2004 and 6? Yeah, about 2004 to 2007, like right before or after the Lich King, where I was like known for like nerds and people like, oh, I don't want to touch that stuff, that's for you nerds and that bullshit. I mean, look how it is now. You know, the nerds, you know, Revenge of the Nerds or whatever. I have to see that movie, but anyway, Revenge of the Nerds basically played out in real life, and now we're the ones on top. But anyways, let's go into the substance now, since we got through all the fluff. So, I'm going to sound a little bit tired because today was a very stressful day. I don't know if I'm going to talk about it later, but I am going to sound a bit tired. So, if you want to correct me on some things, feel free to do so, but don't be an asshole about it. I will actually, I guess, read out some of the comments of why I say that. And they're pretty funny. They're salty. I actually triggered some people with this. Can you actually believe that an idea of something that could just maybe possibly happen, basically an opinion piece, could trigger somebody? And it has nothing to do with politics or genders or anything like that. So I was really confused. So what I wrote, I'll just read word for word. I did not get to play the TCG. The art and the flavor was so amazing, so I bought a starter deck, which is basically this. This is the starter deck. And if I open it up, I'm going to try to do this. I'm doing this live. I was going to maybe record this earlier, but you know, you get some packs. You can see this. Obviously, oh my god, the cards are stuck in the middle. That's not good. So let's kind of close that carefully. So you have the starter deck, and then you have the raid deck. And if you are not, even if you're not a WoW fan, if you have played during these raids, this is literally all the nostalgia of the raid in physical form. And these are dirt cheap right now because obviously the TCG is dead. Blizzard canceled it. So, I mean, if you have extra money laying around, you can usually pick these up for maybe $20 at most. You can sometimes get them for $5 a lot of times because a lot of stores are liquidating their WoW stuff. But these are amazing. I'll open this up because I actually haven't opened it in a while. But it's, you know, doesn't get more WoW nostalgia than this. So anyways, so I'm going to skip a little bit because I was talking about, you know, how people didn't like WoW, etc. And it just continued sadly. So here's the points I made. So the first point is A, the new interest in WoW due to the movie would spark interest in a card game. Now, this can be taken in the context with Hearthstone because Hearthstone is now the Blizzard card game, but Hearthstone, I'll get into a little bit later, Hearthstone and actually having physical cards is not the same at all. In the comments, people argue this to death, but they're not even the same thing. Hearthstone is a CCG. I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna sound stupid. I don't know exactly what that stands for, but it's basically digital card game. I'll just call it digital card game. And this is a trading card game. The thing is, in Hearthstone is Blizzard doesn't allow you to trade cards. This game allows you to trade cards. That's why it's called a trading card game. So I had people argue with that logic, and I don't know how you can argue with that. You can't trade in Hearthstone, so how can it be a trading card game? It can't be the same thing. So anyway, so B, I said controversial, but the new anime TCGs that are flooding the market don't have a good appeal, and except for maybe one or two of them, they're struggling to get by. So I used the example of Duel Masters. Now, I love Duel Masters. I actually played that a long time ago. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Was its main competition, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Absolutely, utterly destroyed it, and the game died. Right now, we have, I think, Card Fight Vanguard, and, what is it, Kajudo? I think Kajudo's probably going to die out. I'm pretty sure Kajudo's going to die out. And I think Card Fight Vanguard might actually make its place. It's starting to make its way into actually being a solid TCG. The problem with both of those things is they rely heavily on the weeaboo crap. Now, I know I'm going to get some shit for this, but not everybody likes weeaboos. Not everybody likes playing with cards. Like, you know, when you play with card games, you want to see, like, cool art. Like, for example, we have this, like, Angel from Magic the Gathering. We have a Yu-Gi-Oh card, like, I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh art isn't really the greatest, but, you know, we have, like, you know, soldier dudes and stuff. But on Card Fight Vanguard and other games or whatever, I'm not even sure if it's Kajudo. I might be wrong, Kajudo, but it is usually skimpy dressed little girls. Like, if you think about it, just from a obvious perspective, why would a normal person who's not really interested in TCGs want to jump into a game where they have to play with like people with play mats and it's like almost pornographic and they look underage, but because in Japan the laws are different or anything. I mean, that's what turns people off. And it may sound like I'm nitpicking, but that's why it won't be as popular as Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering as Yu-Gi-Oh! Because even Yu-Gi-Oh! Has some of those kind of things, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Obviously, you know, we got Blue Eyes White Dragon, man. Doesn't get more badass than Blue Eyes White. I prefer Red Eyes Black Dragon, but you know, it doesn't get more badass than Dark Magician and Blue Eyes White Dragon. But in these Japanese other card games, you have, you know, skimpy girl with staff and big scary monster hiding in the background, but you know, her skirt is showing. So I think that's what's gonna kill those games. Total controversial. You know, flame me in the comments. We'll see what happens. C. With Hearthstone, yes, it would be confusing as some of the art is reused. So let's actually bust open this really quickly because I don't want this video to be like 20 minutes. And hopefully I can just find a quick card that has the same art as in Hearthstone. Shouldn't be too hard to find. I mean, the art in this game... Oh, here you go. The art in this game is really cool. I mean, definitely like almost... I'd say almost just... It's like the best... It's like mixing Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! Into one. And it's like perfect. So, for example, we have this card. It might be a bit blurry, but it's actually this card in Hearthstone is a draw power card. It draws 2 cards and has Overload 2 in Hearthstone. If you know what that means. But in the Wild TCG, this guy is actually a creature. He's a Tauren Shaman ally, and he has attack, he has health. He unfortunately doesn't have any flavor text, but he's actually a body, and this is actually a good example of what differentiates this from Hearthstone. Same art, but in Hearthstone, it's card draw. In TCG, it's its own card with its own effects, its own personality, and everything. As well as some really cool looking, you know, badass Tauren art. So I'll just keep this on my lap, hopefully I don't drop it. So that's just, I guess, one example of how it could be confusing, because obviously the art is the same. But, the mechanics are also vastly different. Now, I'm going to apologize here, because this kind of contradicts the video in a huge way. But it was basically because since the TCG was dying and was never really popular, I didn't really have anybody to play this game with, so I don't really have much experience of how the game plays. All I really basically know is you have your hero cards, so like kind of the same as Hearthstone. So for example, you probably can't read that, but it's a hero card. You basically, if your hero dies, I think you lose, same thing as Hearthstone. He has his own effects, he even has professions and a class. So there's a lot of flavor on this shit. Yeah, this hero, so unlike Hearthstone, your hero is just whoever the hell it is. In this game, your hero has an extra identity. He's also an alchemist and a herbalist. And he's an undead priest and a shadow undead priest, which is actually important. The classes actually matter So for example, in Hearthstone, you can turn your priest into a shadow priest, but it's still not a shadow priest. This guy is a certified mother effing shadow priest. So it's vastly different. So you have the same thing like that. You have your allies, so pretty much you protect your hero with your allies, kind of like Magic the Gathering, I guess. You have your ability cards. So like, for example, Vanquish is an ability card where you just destroy a creature. You even have your neutral cards. So for example, I have a Chromie legendary card. And I think this is hard. I don't know if it's hard to get or whatever, but this is like one of the major lore characters in WoW. At least in vanilla WoW. I don't think she's really done that. Oh, Mr. Pandaria, she's done a little bit. But yeah, you basically get the point. I don't want this video to be too long. So you basically get the point of that. So, what do you call it? And then also, Hearthstone promotes anti-social interactions and sarcasm. Now, this is where I got flamed on the most, but it's true. If you look at Hearthstone, there is no interaction. There's no chat log, and you're using 6 emotes, and 90% of the time, you're using that for BMs, which is the funniest thing. Never change that. I'm not saying to change that in Hearthstone. Just keep it. It's probably the best. It's probably one of the things that makes Hearthstone unique, is that you only have 6 ways to communicate, and all 6 can be awesome BMs. If you don't know what a BM is, it's basically a bitch move to fuck with your opponent. But there's no social interaction unless the person adds you, and if the person adds you after you whoop their ass, it's usually a super salty comment saying, "Oh, fuck you for beating me" or some shit. It promotes really, really bad community behavior. It does. And when I compare it to Magic the Gathering, when you have a sit down and play game where you're playing with physical cards, it can spawn new friendships and communities. Now, this is true for Hearthstone. I hope people don't fucking call me out on this, because it's true in Hearthstone. Yes, there are communities for Hearthstone. I actually been to a fireside gathering. There's actually meetup groups where people go together and play Hearthstone in freaking Whole Foods, which is actually probably the main issue, because if you're not in a dedicated computer technology place, you're tied down to Whole Foods internet. And Whole Foods did not like us. That was a fact. The only reason we had internet was because I guess the guy had an in with one of the employees, but they hated us, man. They were like, these damn Hearthstone players coming in and sucking our internet. I hate Whole Foods, but anyway. What do you call it? That's another thing. Physical cards are not bound to the rules of the internet. So we actually also had another day where we went to the meetup on Saturday morning. Oh, the servers are down for maintenance. So, what the hell do you do if you have a meetup that's all about a digital card game and the servers are down for maintenance? So that meetup just pretty much canceled itself. But with physical cards, that doesn't happen. You bring your deck, your cards aren't going anywhere unless somebody steals them, which, of course, is a problem in the community, but most people, except for Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know why, Yu-Gi-Oh! Just has a bad rap when it comes to that stuff, but in most card game communities, people look out for each other, and if they notice somebody stealing, they'll call them out. Except in Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know why. People just love to steal Yu-Gi-Oh! Shit. But anyways, so I said, this is also back in C. Now that isn't to Hearthstone. Well, I kind of worded that weird. So basically, Hearthstone can't do the same. I said the same thing about the meetups. Like, the servers are down, and with paper, these issues don't exist. D, the money. So this is obviously the biggest factor. Now, this is really dependent on how well the movie does, because the game was canceled because of the money. The game was not pulling in money. The game was not pulling in players, so it's going to die. Same thing with Duel Masters. Same thing with probably these new Japanese card games that are coming out. So the thing is, though, if the movie hype is good, and the movie is it'll drive up sales. And new advances in social, it will drive up sales. Let me see that first. So, for example, back when WoW TCG was actually very popular, we even have huge hero cards. I just realized we got 3 massive hero cards. And they also have the full art on the back. How cool is that? So anyway, we have 3 massive, we had, back in the day when it was massive, we did not have Facebook. We had what, MySpace? Like, come on, MySpace. We did not have Facebook, which unfortunately right now I hate Facebook, and there's actually they're censoring things now, so Facebook's going the way of the dinosaur pretty soon, in my opinion. But anyways, we didn't have this kind of, 5-second social media. So now that Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh! Survived that time, they're doing even better now, because now in 5 seconds you could figure out what, like, I guess the best example would be back in the day you have to go to card shop to figure out what Magic the Gathering is like. Nowadays you can download programs, you can play Magic duels for free. You don't even have to move from your seat to learn about Magic. But back in the day you used to have to actually go to your card shop and, you know, kind of risk buying a starter deck to see if you actually want to play or not. So, on that note, I said other TCG players, pun intended, because TCG Player is the best place to get your trading card needs. No, I'm not sponsored by them, but that was a shameless plug. TCG Player is the cheapest. And obviously, if the WoW TCG comes back, you're going to be getting your singles off of TCG Player. I mean, that's just going to be it. For Americans. For Europeans, I know it's actually way too expensive. So for for EU, like we like to call WoW, US and EU and Asia. For EU and Asia, you're going to have to find a different way. Unfortunately. But anyway, what do you call it? You can easily switch in between the games like I do. So right now, I'm currently bouncing Hearthstone, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, and now RuneScape Legends. And in my opinion, I think RuneScape Legends is the best out of all of them. That's just me. Obviously, you guys will have different opinions. I would actually like to know, if you want to drop a comment, what is your favorite card game and why? That would be pretty interesting. And maybe you can bring new players into that card game if this video gets popular or not. I mean, a lot of our videos have been doing well. Not saying this video will be popular, but hey, if you want to try to get some people to your card game, by all means, try to tell me, just leave a comment letting me know all positive about your card games. Even if you play those anime card games that I absolutely hate, I would definitely welcome some response, because not everybody is the same. And some people are going to enjoy those weeaboo card games. So anyway, RuneScape Legends. I don't have time. That's the thing. When when real life hits you, and when shit hits the fan in real life, you don't have time for all these games. But I still manage it, and I don't think it's really hard to manage Hearthstone, because if you think about it, Hearthstone, it's all right there. Magic the Gathering. You know what? I'll do it. I'll move the camera. This is the mess I have. Just a quick look at the mess. That's just a piece of the mess on my desk every freaking day with Magic the Gathering. So, as you can see with Hearthstone, you don't have that mess because everything's in the UI. So it's not complicated. And it's not time consuming. Hearthstone matches average about less than 5 minutes. And unless you're going for Legend, which is another thing that promotes the bad gameplay, because going to the Legend grind is horrible. It's a horrible system. And it's pretty much just a grind of 50%. If you can get over 50%, even if it's a 50%.1, if you have the time to do it, you will hit Legend. You'll probably want to blow your brains out by the end of it, but you'll hit Legend. But anyway, if you're telling me that you can't play that game and then also play one TCG, even if it's not World of Warcraft, then you probably shouldn't be playing card games in general. Just to blatantly say it. Then D2, this is actually point 2 of the same point, loot cards. So in World of Warcraft, we had loot cards. I don't know if I have a good example. Yeah, I don't have an example of that. I do have a loot card, but I don't know where it is. I'm not going to look for it. But basically, there are loot cards where you could scratch off of the rare card and you can get a mount in game. So for example, you had like a 1 in 170 something chance to get a White Rhino TCG loot card. And what you would do, you would scratch it off, you would enter it into World of Warcraft, and bam, you got your mount. Now, those mounts are insanely priced. Spectral Tiger codes go for like $200 and will only go up because the game right now is dead. There are no more Spectral Tigers. The only way you can get it is by either illegal duping methods, which Blizzard denies for some reason acknowledging, but the Chinese gold sellers and everything, they know about this stuff. They can program the mounts. They get banned, but when they're selling the mounts off for like 1 million gold in 5 seconds, the bans don't even matter if they know how to duplicate them. That's another story for a whole nother day. But these loot cards, for example, if Legion is a success, this actually depends, this part depends on Legion. If Legion is a success, people are going to blow a ton of money for multiple copies of even this, which is something you can just buy one of and never have to buy any more. You can buy 1 million of these just to try to get that loot card or whatever. And people will do that. Trading cards is gambling. I mean, I think it's a fact. When you buy a booster pack of trading cards, you're technically gambling. I mean, you're not really gambling, but it's even in some states and countries, it's considered gambling, believe it or not. And it's actually illegal, which is pretty funny. I think in I want to say Taiwan, but I'm not sure if it's Taiwan, but in one of those countries, you actually can't buy booster packs. Because I saw a card shop channel, I guess I'll name drop, Card Shop Life, just YouTube Card Shop Life. If you like Magic the Gathering and you like real life soap operas or whatever you want to call it, then that's the best channel. This channel is so much fun. I gotta watch the new one. But basically, somebody won a giveaway in like a foreign country, and he had to open up the booster packs on stream because there's gambling. Gambling is illegal there, so he had to open up the booster packs so the guy who was getting their cards knew exactly what they were getting, so it wouldn't be technically gambling. And that's pretty cool that they go above and beyond, standard of the usual card shop. But who knows? That's just an example. So some people are gonna spend thousands of dollars just to try to get that rare mount or whatever, and etc. So obviously loot cards will come back. Get yourself a rideable Illidan. Yeah, and the latest set of WoW TCG. Get a loot card, ride Illidan himself, and be the betrayer. That'd be really stupid. So anyway, when you're talking about money, that will make them a ton of money if the hype is real. If the movie does well, I don't see how they cannot make money off of just the loot cards themselves. Because people, even when the game was out, people were dropping thousands of dollars. The only problem is they didn't bring in new players, and that's why the game died. Because they did have those players that would be willing to drop $2,000 on like a booster box case to try to get those loot cards. And anyways, my last point is the raid boxes are like a mini board game with a WoW raid theme. This is what this is. And I can't say much since I bought the Noxia's Lair deck and had no one to play with. So hopefully hopefully I have it still intact somewhere. And believe it or not, this thing has actually lasted. Oh my god, it looks almost pristine. I mean, you can't really see it, but does this really look like it even has any damage to it? I mean, it is open a little bit, but good product too. That's another thing. Magic the Gathering has a lot of issues with their packaging, and with WoW TCG, I mean, this is like a nice little bookcase right here. Like, shit. If I didn't want to, even if I didn't want to buy this, I would buy this just to like store my WoW expansions. Throw vanilla in here. Why not? You could probably fit old expansions in here. Considering now they're all super small and don't have any content. Oh, shots fired. But anyway, what do you call it? So this makes the game accessible for a fun family night, or I guess to quote Magic the Gathering, Friday Night Magic. You can have Friday night raid deck. and you don't have to invest a lot of money. I think this was like $20 or $30 at most retail. No stickers, so I can't tell the price. But you can pay $20, not play the rest of the game, and you can still play a raid deck. I think you might need a separate deck. I'm not sure, but I'll double check because we're actually going to open this bad boy up. It's already open technically, but I think I left it intact because I only got to use this once in my lifetime. And before I open this up, the last thing is Hearthstone, which I said already. Hearthstone is a TCG, not a CCG. The two would not compete with each other to kill each other. Now, what that means is they can both coexist, and while it is this already happens with Blizzard, Heroes of the Storm, and Overwatch. Now, technically, they're two vastly different things, but they both go under the same cloud of MOBA. And I think Overwatch beats out Heroes of the Storm by a mile. Because to me, Heroes of the Storm felt like a money grab. And at first I thought Overwatch was also a Blizzard money grab. But I was actually really impressed with Overwatch. And unlike Heroes of the Storm, where it's basically just fan service out the ass and they want to get money, from that League of Legends hype, Overwatch I think will be probably one of the greatest games and probably a Blizzard staple. I mean, every game has been a Blizzard staple, even the games that are dying, like StarCraft. Oh my god, they butchered I don't follow StarCraft, but they butchered that shit. Holy crap. They almost did it to Diablo 3, but they fixed that. And that's another good thing. Blizzard loves their products. Unfortunately, this is one of the very few that did not succeed. But they knew Diablo was on its last legs, and they finally bent to the pressure and fixed the game, and now Diablo is one of the best games in its genre, if not the best. I do like Path of Exile, though. But anyways, let's go into the raid box really quick. So, basically, in closing, before I go into the raid box, let me know what you guys think. Would you actually be interested in playing the WoW TCG? Because what I think, for the most part, is that the WoW TCG was maybe a little ahead of its time. Maybe a little bit too early, and a lot of people didn't even know. A lot of WoW players even now don't even know this exists. Like, I was guaranteed there's probably somebody watching a video going, "What the fuck? What the hell is a Noxia's Lair raid deck?" Because the thing died out before WoW really went mainstream and missed the Pandaria and unfortunately Cataclysm. But Legion has to save WoW and the movie has to save WoW. If Legion doesn't save WoW, that's perfectly fine because the movie could easily save WoW. If the movie doesn't save WoW, it's perfectly fine because the Legion will save WoW. But in that second case I just made, that means this will never ever happen. So let's open it up. Enough talking. Let's get down to the business. So I'm going to try, it's going to be really awkward because I can't really point the camera down. So we have a raid deck thing, and it has the phases. Oh, it has the phases here. So what does it say? It says start phase, event phase, action phase, end phase. So this plays out like a board game, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, and you have the table of contents. You have the setup, you have the gameplay, and all that stuff. You have the treasure pack. This even came with a treasure pack, which I think is in here. I opened it, of course, but they even have rewards for people. So, for example, if you wanted to keep buying this, you could actually keep buying this, and every Friday you can use the reward pack and have like a competition of who can actually beat the boss faster or whatever it is. And there's rewards. They give you rewards to give out if you wanted to. Of course, you can keep the rewards, which I did. But that, you know, that's pretty damn cool. And if you think about it, that actually gives resale value to this. Because despite the fact you only need one of these, if you want to make it, if you want to keep having reward packs, I mean, you could buy them individually, but it'll probably be way expensive. Or you can just get more of these. So we have the raid boss himself, and I love the art. My God. So we have Anaxia, and it's all 3 stages. This is what I love. The amount of thought put into this is amazing. So in Anaxia, she does have 3 different stages in the game. And they did redo the raid, so I'm going to try to remember the new raid, because unfortunately the old raid is gone. They redid it to level 80 raid. So what we have is stage 1 Anaxia. So basically she's just doing normal attacks. She has 20 health. She's really easy to kill, etc. Then we have stage 2 Anaxia. So it's pretty interesting because the art, this is actually a phase in the game where she flies up and then the ground, I think, becomes dangerous because it starts spewing lava and crap. So it's not the exact representation, but I mean, look at that art. And if you think about it, this is what we're playing in World of Warcraft. Those people are getting freaking incinerated, man. Yeah, not to bring in politics, but if you talk about feel the burn, they're feeling that shit. So this is stage 2, and it evolves. It has more health, it has more attacks, long range. And look, you flip Anaxia, put a whelp into play. And if you haven't seen that classic video of the guy yelling at his raid team about the many whelps and more DLTs, this is exactly it in card form. And then we have the final phase, where it's just, you know, basically a more powerful Anaxia, and it basically has an ultimate ability, if you want to use Overwatch terms, where 20, I guess, mana, if you flip Anaxia, destroy all opposing heroes. So that actually means this is an automatic win card if the heroes cannot kill this card. Same thing in the game. Anaxia rages, if your raid can't kill it, it's dead. And I mean, just look at it. It's like a badass, I don't know if that's a paladin or a warrior, but, you know, 100% certified badass blocking that flame. So these are the cards you use, and this is how the phases work, kind of. I'm going to try to... I really have little memory of this. So you get a bunch of decks, and alright, so here's the deck of Anaxia attacks. So I'll just take out a couple that I guess makes sense. So for example, we have Deep Breath, and this is what Anaxia uses. She uses... I mean, the quality looks like it's actually getting crappier for some reason as I go on, but we have Dragon Breaths. We have the freaking Whelp Pits, man. Now, anybody who fought Anaxia, you know if somebody got feared into the Whelp Pits, it was game over. And you would blame that guy and probably kick him out of the group if it was a bug if you went into the Whelp Pits. So we even have to laugh. Oh my god. I'm like this. I'm fan. I know I said I hate fanboying, but I'm going to fanboy a little bit here. But as always, if you don't like this game, then I respect the opinion. But we have the freaking lava cracks. I was just talking about that a second ago. We have the literal lava cracks from the raid. Doesn't get much more crazier than that. Oh, you have Head Slam, Tooth and Claw. I'm just going to kind of skip through these. There's a lot. I mean, you have a whole deck for Anaxia. So basically, one player plays Anaxia, and the rest of the players play the heroes. So we have a bunch of things. Look, we even have freaking quotes. Foolish mortals. And it says, the flavor of text is, you would sooner be a dragon snack than a dragon slayer. And it shows them eating like a dude. That's pretty funny. You know, if only we had the technology back then to actually animate that stuff, Warcraft would be pretty damn brutal. That's what I hope they do in the movie. I don't think the movie's rated R, though. I mean, if it was rated R, we would be seeing this shit from the cards. But since I think it's PG-13, it's gonna be like half and half. We'll see what happens. I hope the movie does well, because then again, it's not actually using World of Warcraft. It's more using Warcraft 1, which I think is a very good starting point. That was really good. That was a really smart move. Instead of jumping into World of Warcraft, jump into the beginning, to where even older players and new players alike can, you know, kind of rediscover World of Warcraft and appreciate more of how it evolved to World of Warcraft. And now you have a million, you know, when they're like in that video, many whelps. Oh my god, just whelps. Oh, they're double-sided? Oh, I didn't even notice that. They're double-sided whelps. I think they give you like 20 whelps. And that's exactly what happens in the game. If somebody gets feed into the whelp pit, you know, this is coming after you. This is that nightmare in card form, man. I hated that so much too, when people walk right into the whelps. And then you have, oh, I forgot about this. You have event cards. So I think there's an event there's an event phase. After the starting phase, there's an event phase, and you play a new event. So basically, you shuffle this deck, and you draw a card. So let's pretend we're actually playing the game, and let's shuffle. Alright. So we have an event card. So this card is called Second Wind. And what it does is each player draws cards until he reaches his maximum hand size. And it has a really long flavor text. Now, it's pretty cool, because this event card actually helps the players kill Anoxia. So, while Anoxia technically controls the event card, Anoxia does not control the outcome. So it can either be really bad or really good. So this one gives the heroes a buff, basically. And Second Wind. Let me see if I can find a bad one. Oh, here's a bad one. So now, here's a bad one. You know, I want to play this shit. If our brothers listen to me, like, we're going to play this shit tonight or something. What do you call it? So now what we have is feeding time. So here's a one that works for Anoxia. So basically, put X whelps into play where X is double the current stage. So if you're on stage 3, that means 6 whelps. If you're on stage 2, 4 whelps. If you're on stage 1, then 2 whelps. So, you know, it's a 50-50 chance. You never know what's going to happen, and then there's other cards that probably do something different. So, you know, that's pretty cool. And this happens during every turn, I think. So, you know, that's fun. This alone is what makes it a board game, a separate board game. And more separate mechanic than Hearthstone. This game doesn't have too much RNG, but if you're looking for that Hearthstone RNG, event deck is the way to go. So I was wrong in the beginning. I'm going to correct myself and end the video here. That yes, you do need to have a deck ready, but you can easily get a deck together just by buying the starter deck. And you can easily get a deck together. I mean, it won't be as good, and you could still win technically with even the crappiest deck, because if Anoxia, you know, draws crappy, if the player playing Anoxia draws crappy cards, they're gonna lose. So that's kind of cool. So it is accessible to anyone, even if they're playing like a $5 budget deck or whatever. You know, you still got this. So now that I think of it, I hope I can play this sometime soon. But those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below, like I said before, if you actually made it to the end of this video, because holy crap, it's long. And I will see you guys next time. I think I'll be doing some streaming or stuff, but a lot of them in real life mess I gotta deal with. But, you know, that's life. Shit hits the fan. You gotta deal with it. So thanks for watching. I'm gonna close this up. I forgot to put the book in, and I'll see you guys next time.